Recently, Seyi Makinde had a media chat where he gave a bombshell revelation of how Wike promised to hold down PDP for Bola Tinubu after the 2023 election, just so that Bola Tinubu has free pass in the 2027 election to make sure that there's no contestants within the PDP, meaning that Seyi Makinde claimed that Wike promised to cause chaos within the PDP on behalf of Bola Tinubu, acting like an agent or more. That was Seyi Makinde's claim in a nutshell. So I want you to watch this today and watch how Wike tells Nigerians and says Seyi Makinde is a liar. That Seyi Makinde is lying to Nigerians that such thing never happened when all the G5 governors had a meeting with Bola Tinubu after the 2023 election. Remember how they rigged River State? Remember how Bola Tinubu became governor? Remember how Premium Times report came up and even the BBC report documented massive rigging, chopping off Peter Obi's votes? And now, which obviously resulted to Wike becoming the FCT minister. And Seyi Makinde's claim is that Wike promised Tinubu that his actions during the election, after the election, till now, points towards the fact that Wike is still holding the PDP down on behalf of Bola Tinubu. That's why you have two factions of the PDP now, two factions of the Labour Party, two factions of ADC. You have different factions. The only way where there's one faction, where there's one political party that's existing is the APC. Why? Because of the actions of Nyesom Wike. So you see this mix-up of the G5 governors, Wike, Seyi Makinde, Bola Tinubu. These people came together, they worked together to bring about a president that is so ineffective, incompetent, corrupt, bringing a government that is so corrupt. But yet, they're playing this politics outside now for Nigerians to say, see, the truth about the rigging that happened in 2023, all of the chaos that's going on in the country, all those backdoor dealings that happen in the middle of the night, they will play out in the open because Nigerians are not keeping quiet. The problem Nigerian politicians have, Seyi Makinde, Bola Tinubu, Wike, they expect that after the election, Nigerians will have amnesia and forget everything that happened, and they will come back 4 years later and rig again. But in this one, this bone that they ate has become a very thick one in their neck and it will not let go. So like I said, remember when Makinde said that? Wike promised to hold PDP, down for Bola Tinubu. But Wike is now saying that that is a lie. Makinde is a liar. Wike is denying that even though the G5 had that meeting with Bola Tinubu, that conversation, him saying those things didn't happen. But the problem that Wike has right now is that his words does not have value because of the countless times he's gone back on his words. For example, remember when Wike said that he would never be a godfather in River State, that the people of River State are not like Lagos? Has he not attempted to be a godfather? Has he not thrown PDP into chaos and River State into chaos? Can you see that? Remember when he said he would never work with APC or for APC, that APC is cancer? Has he not gone back on his word? Remember when Wike made statements like, oh, he will never disappoint PDP or PDP chieftains like Peter Odili because they contributed to whatever it is today politically. Look at what has happened to PDP. So everyone has come to that full understanding and realization that Wike's political value is a nuisance value because he's only out there for himself. And then everyone's avoiding him. And Seyi Makinde now making his political calculations seemingly looking like in 2027 he might be the PDP candidate for 2027 presidential election. Is now coming out to say Wike made this statement. But I haven't watched Wike destroy PDP for 2 years. Seyi Makinde kept quiet. He kept quiet. He didn't say anything to that regard. He kept quiet. Watch as PDP got ruined. PDP got destroyed by Wike from the beginning to the end. Governors are defecting, and Wike is working together with the president to get these governors to defect. He's worked together with the River State lawmakers to help them defect to the APC. But he kept quiet until now. That's why Wike is now saying, because he himself is thinking about it, if I say this, Nigerians will buy it. Why didn't Seyi Makinde rather come out to say this long time ago? Why is he now talking about it now? Of course, you know that the other G5 governors will not support Makinde. Ayo Fayose is already showing that to Nigerians that Makinde is lying. So, but you see, these backdoor dealings, These corrupt backdoor dealings by our politicians, thinking that they can use Nigerians as pawns while they play their chess games, is coming out in the open. Everything is going to be in the open. But like I said, the problem Wike has is that he's got a nuisance value right now, politically speaking. Fubara has defected. He doesn't have any power play anymore. So what he's thinking about is trying to make subtle statement and jab at Tinubu without even calling him to say, without the allegations of me rigging the election in 2023, you would not have been president. Remember, there's an audio tape out there with Wike's voice clearly threatening an electoral officer about killing that electoral officer, or rather, about unaliving the electoral officer just to make sure that they rigged the elections as alleged. Premium Times report carried it. BBC report details it, showing how the election was rigged massively. Peter Obi's vote was chopped, or were rather chopped and given to Tinubu. Do you see what I mean? So when you look at all of this, you just look at our politicians and you laugh because they think that, like before, Nigerians will have amnesia and go back to normal, and they will come back in 2027 and they will rig the elections again, have their foot soldiers, cause mayhem, use election officers like INEC. You see, that's why Bola Tinubu was rewarding all those people. Look at, what's his name, the former INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, being a ambassador now. The worst INEC chairman ever is now an ambassador. Wike allegedly rigging election on behalf of Bola Tinubu in Rivers State as FCT minister. All those people that played this key role in the contribution to bringing about this government of incompetence are the ones now coming out to speak up. All of them. Don't forget El Rufai. So that's why I said to you, I want you to watch this to the end. I want you to put your comment in the comment section. I want you to contribute to this. When you watch this, you realize that our politicians for far too long have taken us for granted. Before they just carry on with like normal. But now Nigerians are not keeping quiet, and you cannot afford to keep quiet. So watch this, share this content, recommend this video, recommend this channel as well. But remember to subscribe, it's free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything. And I want you to watch this. I'll catch you on the other side. God bless you.
Seyi Makinde is accusing you of doing the opposite. So if we get into his media chat that happened not too long ago, he mentioned you by name and said in a meeting with the president that you were present and the president's chief of staff was present, that you said to the president that I will hold PDP for you. And then he said that he went with you to the veranda or the balcony and said, this is not what we planned, or this is not what was agreed to. And then he said that if you're free to support the president if you want to, but he is free not to. Now, is that factual? Because he said other people were there.
That's a blatant lie. And that's why, you see, Seyi Makinde has never called me Wike. Never. That's the first time I hear him say Wike. He has never called me Wike one day. It's unfortunate. First of all, you ask yourself, what was that meeting? What was the purpose of that meeting? That would have led me to say, Mr. President, I will hold PDP for you. Why did Seyi Makinde not come up all this while to tell the party, see what Wike is doing? I was in a meeting and see what Wike said. It's not correct. And let me put the record straight. There was no such meeting. Rather, my humble self, the former governor of Benue State, Otom, the former governor of Abia State, Ibazu, the former governor of Enugu State, Ugwaye, and Seyi Makinde, we went to see President.
That's the G5.
Yes, we went to see President to discuss, of course, elections were over, to discuss about certain things. While we were there, the chief of staff, of course, you should know that the chief of staff is always around the president. I was the one who said, look, chief of staff, come and show us, you can, remind the president of what we have discussed. There was nothing like a meeting. We booked to go and see Mr. President. So you could not, it is completely out of place for anybody to say that in that meeting, I said to Mr. President, I will hold PDP that for you. That's very unfair.